So Joe Schoen just finished his presser a little while ago, and honestly, I'm not surprised at a lot of stuff we talked about. Talked about the quarterback position. They brought up Saquon Barkley, which was inevitable. Talked about Matthew Stafford. So let's unpack it all. Let's talk about what we got from Joe Schoen and see what's smoke and see what's not. Because I do think some of the things that we are seeing, it's a little bit of smoke, but we're here to talk about it, man. So Joe Schoen was on the presser. They were asking him a lot of questions, and obviously quarterback continued to be the main topic of choice. And he had a lot of compelling things to talk about with this quarterback take. He said that he's one to take swings for the position. He knows how important the quarterback position is. He definitely is on the side of taking swings at the position, knowing that the upside of getting a good quarterback is obviously going to change your team dramatically. The crazy part about this is that he hasn't drafted a quarterback since he's been here. Obviously, we know he had Daniel Jones. He's kept Daniel Jones and hasn't taken any swings at the position. So it's very interesting that he uses that philosophy that he loves to take swings at that position. And this year, he's going to have to take a swing. But that doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be a quarterback in this draft. Now, they asked him for Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, what they thought about him, and pretty much he was speaking on that. Obviously, he's investing in those prospects. They're continuing to do work on those quarterbacks, and he's also noted that with him being at number 3, it's not a given that he'll be able to take one of those quarterbacks. So looking at it for what the Giants need, we know they need a quarterback on this roster. We know that there's some rookie quarterbacks in this class that they've been linked to, and they've been talking about, putting in work on Shedeur Sanders, putting in work on Cam Ward, trying to really get what they can out of these guys. But then you think about the other market that they have, the veteran market. Matthew Stafford came up in this conversation, and he was pretty much letting them know, like, hey, I'm not here to answer Matthew Stafford questions. Go ask the Rams. He really just shooed the question away. But I feel like when you don't speak on those things and we really kind of put that to the side, there might be something there. We know the Giants are interested. It's been reported for a long time, and it's going to be a topic of conversation until either Stafford gets his extension with the Rams or he gets dealt somewhere, whether it be the Giants or not. The Giants are going to be the forefront of that conversation, and he really give no attention to it. And I do think it's really valuable that he's not, because when you look at these pressers, right, I mean, a lot of us like to look into these pressers, but around the league they're listening to, they don't want to give any leverage in these moments. If they continue to say that they're interested in Matthew Stafford and it shows how much they want him, they're obviously going to be demanding a big return from the Giants to get that type of player on their team. So for the Rams' sake, obviously we don't want to see the Rams seeing anything that we're really sought out for Matthew Stafford, that we're really shooting for Matthew Stafford. They're going to need to, once again, deal with whatever they can get if they're looking to actually deal Matthew Stafford. Joe Schoen did not bite at that bit at all. But he did talk about the quarterback position extensively, and he also talked about the veteran free agent market, right? Bringing in other quarterbacks. He didn't bring up any names, but he was pretty much saying that there will be a veteran quarterback in this room. He spoke on having, a veteran quarterback in the room that can kind of have some type of experience that could really bring, leading the team involved, but also leading the team on the field. So when you look at that, right, where does my mind instantly go to? He's definitely going to be on board for other guys like the Russell Wilsons of the world. Jameis Winston is a name that's going to be thrown out there, but I'm not looking at Jameis Winston. Russell Wilson, you think about a Sam Darnold, you think about these other veteran quarterback options. Hey, I'm just putting this out there right now. Maybe I'll make a video on it. We'll see what happens. Geno Smith did drop a cryptic tweet yesterday. I'm all on board to bring Geno Smith to New York, by the way. I really am. Whatever you can to make that happen, Joe Schoen, I would definitely do that. It's not going to cost you as much as a Matthew Stafford, and even trading for him might not cost you as much. So I'm all on board for bringing a Geno Smith next year. But the key part of his argument when it comes to the quarterback position, and whether it's a veteran, whether it's a rookie, he's trying to win games in 2025. He even said it in his presser. He pretty much said, I'm trying to win games in 25. Whatever quarterback gives us the best chance to win games in 2025. That's the type of verbiage and the type of vocabulary we were hearing from Joe Schoen in this presser. And I think that's really important because that really shows, I think they're really interested in the Matthew Staffords of the world, and they're going to try their best to really get that done. I know a lot of people are shooing away at the fact that Matthew Stafford's going to make $50 million, and you know how many holes this team has. I'm aware of that. And even me, I'm looking at Joe Schoen kind of like he's crazy. If he expects to get that deal done, give up compensation, pay that quarterback, and we still have all these holes. But we're not surprised by this. Why? Because Joe Schoen is definitely on the hot seat. He's definitely probably in the last year of his career on this Giants team. And if they don't win games next year, he's out of a job. So he's going to do whatever he can to win this upcoming year. Is that the betterment of this franchise? It's not. Is that the best move for the future of this franchise? It's not. But for the people that want to see this Giants team be competitive and win, obviously they need to be aggressive and they need to make big changes. Matthew Stafford would be a big change. I'm not going to sit here and tell you if that's a great move or if it's not. I'm just letting you know that this GM is obviously on the hot seat. He's trying to win games, and bringing in a Matthew Stafford gives you a better chance to win. For the future sake of this franchise, probably not. Matthew Stafford has about 3 years in him, in my opinion, and that's hoping that he stays healthy, everything stays fine, and he continues to play at the level that he's at, and he doesn't regress. But looking at it for Joe Schoen's sake, he's just worried about next year. Brian Daboll, he's just worried about next year. They're going to do whatever they can to bring the best quarterback in that can help them win games next year. I still think a Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward can help you in both. I think they're both definitely an upgrade over what we had last year. And we haven't seen them play an NFL snap yet. So I'm not going to say that he's going to be better than a Daniel Jones yet. But why not take that swing? I'm all on board for taking that swing. Matthew Stafford is very aggressive, but we know what he is in this league and we know what he can bring to this team. I'm on board for that as well. And is it for the betterment of the future of the team? It's probably not, but they're trying to win next year, so I wouldn't be surprised. Walking away from this presser and really thinking about all the things that they talked about, that's what really got me stuck a bit, is how aggressive he wants to be to win in 2025. He's making it known. So whether it be a Matthew Stafford, whether it be a Russell Wilson, whether it be a Sam Darnold, they're going to do what they can to bring in a quarterback. I'm not on the Sam Darnold bandwagon, man. I'm really not on board to bring him in here and try to win games next year, but if they like Sam Darnold and they're willing to sign him to an extension and sign him to a contract, hey, you might see that being talked about. I haven't seen any rumors yet, but these are the type of moves that you're going to see before the NFL draft. As we know, they're at the combine to go over the players that are going to be in the combine and potentially being drafted to this team in a little over 2 months. But when you look at it, free agency takes place prior to this. We're going to have our answers pretty soon, guys. Like, I think we're all so focused on the NFL draft, but free agency beginning next month, and these deals need to be done before the NFL draft. The Rams need to know what compensation they're getting back for Matthew Stafford before they make that trade. It's not going to be post-draft. So the clock is pretty much going to be started soon, and as you know, I mean, look at it for what Hard Knocks did. I'm not saying it was the greatest move, but, Joe Schoen making that trade for Brian Burns, where did it start? During the combine, during the Senior Bowl. A lot of these things get set up way before the NFL draft. When March hits, free agency begins, you're going to start seeing these moves happen, whether Matthew Stafford gets shipped off somewhere else, whether he stays with the Rams. We're going to get a lot of our answers soon, and that's what I'm really excited to hear about. Joe Schoen didn't really give too much that we can really chomp at, but once again, when you look at what he's been doing for the New York Giants, him talking about taking swings at the quarterback position hasn't been something that he's done. So we'll see how he kind of grades quarterbacks and see how he goes. He gave a contract to Daniel Jones, but let's see how he is in terms of, making the decision to bring in a quarterback expecting to win games, whether it be a Matthew Stafford or not, whether it be the future of this team with a Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. This is something that we haven't seen out of Joe Schoen yet. And do you have all the faith and optimism in him? Probably not. Once again, he's on his last little wishes for this New York Giants tenure. So we'll see if he ends up saving his job or not. But clearly he knows he's on the clock and he knows he has to do whatever he can to win games next year. He even touched on, which I'll touch on it a bit, he touched on 2022 after winning that playoff game. They obviously thought they were ahead of that little timeline, signed guys, brought in guys, traded for Darren Waller, and it didn't work out. Ended up really costing the team during that period, and clearly whatever we thought this team was going to be, that's not where they were. He owned up to that and pretty much said that now they're in a better position with having the number 3 overall pick, with having cap space to really build out this team correctly. But once again, he doesn't have that luxury of having more than 1 year. So he could really flip that whole cap situation upside down right now if he wanted to, because he only got this 1 year to do it. And if he gets fired, he gets fired regardless. He's either going to get fired taking swings at it or get fired for being too complacent. So we'll see what the Giants end up doing. We'll see what Joe Schoen ends up doing. That's my reaction from this presser. I want you guys to let me know down below if there's anything else that I didn't touch on or anything else you feel like, we talked about in this moment. I got some more free agent previews coming up. Make sure you check out my one with Charvarius Ward. He's definitely one of the targets, I think. But these quarterback ones are going to continue to pick up speed. These other positions of depth and need is going to be talked about for sure. So definitely stay tuned for that, man. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.